never been like mobilized for that long period of time.
Do you think I can get to the load and launch ramp?
Yes, good.
Recording. We're recording. Off mute.
Oh, it is.
All right, if we're all ready, it is 5:30 on this fine day of January 14th. And let's call the meeting of Kachemak Bay State Park Citizens Advisory Board to order. I will call a roll. I'm here. Kirsten Dixon. He is outside, won't be here. Sue Christensen.
I'm here.
Nancy Hillstrand. Curtis Jackson.
Here.
Lynn Seaman. Justice Sky.
Here.
Thanks, Justice. Louis Dupree. Morgan Banzo.
Here.
I'm Morgan.
Hey, Robert.
Casey Adam. Alan Parks.
Here.
Oh, we have 8 members present. We have a quorum. I'll just circle back. Nancy? Glenn Seaman. He said he may not make it. Last I saw him was at PT and his arm was in a sling, so. All right. We have a quorum. We can conduct business. We have an agenda. Are there any additions to the agenda? Hearing none. I need a motion to approve the agenda, please.
Move to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Sue. Second by Alan Parks. Any objections? Any more additions? Hearing none, we have an agenda. Next is to approve the minute from November 12th, 2025. You should have got those online. October 8th.
Move to approve those.
Second. No corrections. Hearing none, good, those minutes are approved. Next is to approve the minutes from November 12th.
I move to approve the minutes of November 12th.
Second.
Any objections, any corrections? Hearing none, those minutes are approved. We do not have the minutes for December 10th. We'll have those at the next meeting in a written format. It was posted online if anybody wants to listen.
And that was I was off the book for that one. Was it?
That's all.
Sorry about that.
We'll have it next time. All right, next is public comments. Public can have 5 minutes. We value comments from the public. Is there anyone from the public that would like to make a comment? Mr. Peters.
Thank you very much. So you should have a map in front of you of Cottonwood Eastland showing the trails. I just put A on there so you get some orientation where you are. So A on that map is where you are at Raton and Elmer's Way. And then B is where, I'm sorry, A is East End Road and Raton. And B is Raton and East End Road. C is what used to be, and it's still, I hope, the trailhead for the trails. And D is the end of Elmer's Way, which is the head of another trail. So Eric said, you want trails there, Aaron? Give me a plan. So this is the beginning of a plan for trails in Cottonwood Eastland. So I've been hiking these trails My wife and I bought land here back in 2000, and I've been here ever since. So I've been hiking these trails for almost 25 years. So, and I really like this trail versus sharing a trail with others. So I'm hoping that this will continue. Um, it would be nice, and this is not on this plan, but it'd be nice to go from H on this map back to either C or D or B. So right now it dead ends on H and you gotta follow the trail back. Be nice to make it a loop and go back to Elmer's Way. So the other thing, was a really great article in the Home News on December 25th about the new trails. I don't like the fact that they're calling them Eastland Trails. The article, so 6 times in this article, they call it Eastland Trails. One time they call it Cottonwood Eastland Unit. It really is Cottonwood Eastland Unit from Kachemak Bay State Park. So, you know, we're gonna call it Eastland Trails, or we're gonna call it Eastland Horses when we have horses. We're gonna call it Eastland Cabins when we have cabins. I just think this is ridiculous. Let's stick with the name. Cottonwood Eastland. And also we have a really important water site in Cottonwood, thanks to Dave Brand, where there's a John, where there's a fire ring, where there's a kiosk, where there's a picnic table. So that's all a big part of the park. So that's Cottonwood. So let's not leave Cottonwood out of this title. And if you do want to have a title change, it's got to be for a public hearing. You can't just change the title. The other thing on my list is we've been working a long time to get on this map at D. There's been a junk pile. And that has been thanks to Carter Forney. He's been working on that for a couple of years. I was really happy to see that junk entirely gone. That place is really cleaned up, except for there's a snowmobile junk. I think it's junk, and it's a part of another snowmobile. Just give us permission and we volunteers will make it go away. But it's really nice to see that cleaned up. So that's all I have to say. Any questions?
There.
Thank you.
I guess I have a question for both of you. Do you like his trail suggestion, the loop idea?
Phase 3 of the Eastland Trail System does include a loop that basically sort of mimics that, but does not come out at B or C. It comes out way further west of that. But it's a big loop, is what phase 3 is. It goes all the way down and across part of Brings Trail.
Thanks, Sharon. Anybody public?
So I was just gonna report on the RTAC and LWCF
You're a
meeting.
visitor.
Oh, I'm a visitor, sorry.
Anybody else from the public? Mr. Brand.
Yeah, Dave Brand here. I came across somewhat by accident just online, looking at the state park website and so on. That the state park system is involved in building 25 public use cabins around the state. I think that's great. I'm all for it. I would like the powers that be somehow consider Kachemak Bay State Park for a public use cabin. I think at the last meeting I mentioned, our last cabin was built because of the oil spill. All the cabins were built because of the oil spill. We don't need to wait. We shouldn't have to wait for another oil spill to get a public use cabin here. But anyway.
One built, dude.
Hmm?
What was the last one that was built?
I got it from Eric last time, but yeah. But it was, 30 years ago, 3 years ago.
Is there any way we can get on board with that? How would we request that?
capital improvement project perhaps list. I mean, the cabin project is kind of coming to a close with construction of cabins that we've completed over the last few years statewide. If there's other opportunities, obviously, yeah, I got it into consideration for Kachemak Bay State Park. All right. I see Meg has her hand up. Go ahead, Meg.
Hi, I am at a bit of a deficit not being able to see the map that Aaron referred to, but what I thought I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, is that he would like to see trails that are accessible from the neighborhood, taking advantage of social trails. He didn't say that, but I'm assuming that's what he meant. And I think we've been over this numerous times that there's access, official access to the park is outside the neighborhood. And that's why, Camille's done everything that she's done. So the neighborhood would not be in favor of this. And I um, have the permission of Jean Roche and Pam Gottfried and John Sheldon to represent them in these matters. We're the four that are most affected by what's going on with the park development of trails. Thank you.
Thank you, Meg. Marco Haggerty.
Do I have to stand up?
Oh, you get out there a little. Get in the middle here. Take your
Okay, well, first of all, I'd like to thank Aaron and Camille for all the work they've done on that park out there. It's gonna be a great addition to the park system here. Parks help everybody. It's a good therapy, good exercise, good recreation. I just wanna thank them for
Yeah.
that, for all that work. Like I said, it'll benefit so many people. I'd also like to thank Millie Martin. She's included in her estate, her property. And I had a conversation with her yesterday, and she really likes what the state park did with the Eveline. And I don't know if you've had conversations with her or not, but so anyway, I'd just like to thank Millie Martin for that contribution to the state park. And it's really great to see everybody kind of pull together and make Kachemak Bay State Park the great place that it is. Thank you.
Thanks, Marco. And for those of you that don't know it, that land, if in fact it does come into the state park, will make the Lookout Trail System one of the biggest competitive trail systems in the state. It's gonna be one heck of an area up there when they get snow, and it's gonna be a premier area. So. Thanks, Marco.
Dutch Cup this weekend.
Yep. Anybody else from the public? Seeing none, seeing nobody online, we'll move into visitor. Or number 2. First, we have Reese Miranda, who is the Chief Engineer of Department of Parks and Outdoor Recreation Design and Construction Branch. And he was going to give us a little overview of his position and how he goes about doing business. Good evening, Reese.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight. Again, just to introduce myself, my name is Reese Miranda. I'm the Chief Engineer for Alaska State Parks. I work in the design and construction section. And recently, Director Ricky Geese had asked that I attend all these CAB meetings and do a presentation about the design construction section, in part to bring awareness and also just to get my name out there and get the cabs knowing who we are. And so to that effect, I did prepare a PowerPoint presentation. I'll go ahead and share that right now. hopefully coming up here soon. Hopefully you guys can see that.
Yeah.
And I believe that there is a bit of lag just to get this set up, so I'll give it a few moments here. Okay. Is that up for everyone?
Looking
All
good.
right. Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, so tonight I'm just going to go over a brief introduction on how my unit came about, who we are, what we do, and then I've snuck in a slide or two here specific to deferred maintenance and also going over briefly some of the projects that we have on the books that is relevant to this group. And then at the very end, I put together a slide that goes over some of our numbers over the past decade or so, kind of our metrics, perhaps even one might say our report card. So yeah, just starting off with some statutes here. The first one should be fairly recognizable to most people. This is our foundational statute for state parks, AS 412110. This is what directs us to develop and maintain our recreational facilities for the general health, welfare, education, and enjoyment of the people, and also for the attraction of the visitors to the state. And so, really, what this tells us is we need to develop these facilities, and not just develop facilities, but nice ones and safe and enjoyable facilities. And then we go into AS 3895-160, and this is really what introduces the engineering to these facilities. This statute directs the department to have professional design engineers and architects to be involved when we are improving state land with a budget of 100,000 or more. And these days, that's a pretty easy threshold. And so my unit gets involved in many of these projects. To expand on that a little bit, statute also tells us that these facilities have to abide to codes and standards, local ordinances. So 351025 is specific to buildings and conforming to building codes. 353020 talks about local ordinances and just local requirements and how these facilities, as they are designed, need to conform to those. And so again, just reinforces the role that an engineer and architect may have with these projects. AS 351030, this expands into the construction side of these facilities. Again, it says that the construction of these facilities have to be supervised and inspected by a professional, again, kind of an engineer. And this is what points to us having a resident engineer on our construction projects. And we do use a lot of federal funds on many of our projects. And so that mobilizes the CFRs. These are the federal regs. And so to CFR 200, 329 parent D mirrors that last statute that we were just looking at, talking about technical inspections taking place during construction of facilities that the feds have funded. And so design and construction, we are a project-oriented unit, and our primary role is to deliver the division's major capital projects. And really the section is in direct response to those statutory and federal regs that I just went over. We're not a new unit. We have been around since the very beginning of the division, actually. And just a little bit of trivia, in 1972, I came across an old org chart. And in that org chart, 25% of the Division of Parks was housed under the design and construction unit. I think right now we're at about between 10 and 15%. So we've kind of shrunk it relative to the the greater division from 1972. Right now we have at the top of our org chart, we have 3 licensed engineers. That includes myself and 2 project managers. Beneath those 3, we have 7 staff engineers. So these are engineers that don't necessarily have their licenses yet. We have a licensed landscape architect. That position was secured just about a year ago. So this individual is still fairly new and still learning the ropes. We have 1 environmental impact analyst. Their role is helping us with the environmental and permitting aspects of our projects. And whenever we have federal funding and we have to satisfy the NEPA requirements, that individual takes the lead in that capacity. And then we also have the interpretation and education unit, which was used to be its own section, but around the early 2000s, they were absorbed into design and construction since their funding and their structure was very similar to ours. So with that, we have 1 interpretation and education manager and 2 interp and ed specialists that works within that unit specifically. And then, just like many of the areas within state parks, we also use the ACC program to supplement our workforce, and those are typically engineering students that are still in college or interp and ed specialists that are still in college, and they help us primarily in the summertime, but we do have some that work year round. Also, something to note, within all these positions, only 2 are, I should say all of them are 100% project funded except for 2. And those 2 are my position, which is 75% operating funded and 25% project funded. And then the interp and ed manager is it's about 50-50. It's about I think 60% operating funded and 40% project funded. What do we do? So as I mentioned, we're directly tied to capital projects. So we monitor and address the division's capital needs. A lot of those come from the field staff, the superintendents, rangers, and park specialists and technicians. But we also hear it from the public. So I believe just a few moments ago, there was a comment about a need for some public use cabins for the K-Bay area. So those are the types of things we kind of try to monitor and pay attention to, and just get a feel for what the capital needs are out in our parks. In addition to that, we also track and catalog our deferred maintenance inventory. So every year, around March, I'll send an email out to our superintendents asking for an update to our inventory, and then once I get those, I tally them up, I update the pricing, and then by July 1, we publish an updated version of the inventory. And I'll go a little bit more into detail on that later. As I mentioned, I've got a slide dedicated to that. Something I get involved with a lot is supporting our capital budget requests. So around August, I work with the director's office and our SSD folks down in Juneau to put together our capital budget request for the governor's budget. And then also, I work with many partners, so I'll I'll work with grant opportunities and also just other agencies that have overlapping objectives, and so I'm able to secure capital funds through those partners. Once we get a project funded, that's where the engineers really get involved, and our team will. Sorry, I have kind of hearing some noise there.
We mean,
You're in the bathroom. Come in the bathroom, mute your.
Kirsten, that's you.
Kirsten,
That's all right.
Showed up in the party.
and so did Louis.
Louis,
Louis on too.
I think it's Kirsten, and I'll go ahead and mute them.
Thanks, Reese.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Sorry about that.
We'll
So,
have to give her a lot of grief about.
Right, at least it wasn't, the video wasn't on.
All right. Yeah, as I was saying, once a project is funded, that's where our design team really get involved. So that's our engineers and site planners and permitters get to work. We'll develop technical drawings. Once we get to about the 65% level on the design, then we start going after the permits for construction. And then once designs are done and permits are secured, we put those projects out for construction procurement. And that's a delegation that we've received from the Department of Transportation. We have a really good working relationship with the DOT, and we actually we're one of the agencies with the highest with the higher delegation of authority for construction. Once a contract's awarded and the construction's underway, we assign an engineer, a resident engineer, to the project, and they oversee all aspects of construction. And they're responsible for getting the contractor paid, resolving any unforeseen changes, and issuing change orders, and just making sure that the facilities are built according to plans, and that we're holding true to any permit requirements that may be attached to the project. And then at the end, we maintain all of the construction records, mostly as-built, but we'll hang on to reports too that may be relevant in the future. Deferred maintenance. Like I mentioned, we update the list annually, publish it in July 1 just to coincide with the fiscal year. Currently, our division-wide backlog is at 96.1 million. The table to the right breaks that down per park district. So are the 6 districts, you can kind of see the distribution of that 96.1 million. Our catalog, we have it online, and we actually break down that list further by the area and park with more detailed information on what those deferred maintenance items are. The list, it does represent our most readily available scope of work for when funding opportunities come up. So if I hear of funding opportunity, the first thing I do is I pull up our deferred maintenance book and see if there's a, if I can make a project that would address our deferred maintenance needs. I don't want to say it's shovel-ready projects, but it really is the closest to our list of shovel-ready projects. I've got a link here to that website where we have our cattle. I think we maintained the last 5 years. So I can share that link in the chat if there are some folks interested in looking more into that website. Yeah, some of the projects that we have on the books that are somewhat relevant to this group here. I would say the most relevant to this group. In Anchor River, we have about 1.4 million to do to replace the old Volta toilets out there. That is in construction, and I believe all of the toilets have been replaced, but the site work still needs to be completed, which will take place in the spring of this year. Deep Creek facility rehabilitation. We had a paving job that took place over the summer. It's more or less complete, except there were some issues with the pavement we're trying to resolve with the contractor. And winter just caught up with us before we can have a resolution on that. So that's rolling over into the 2026 construction season as well. Kasilof River SRS parking improvements. Similarly, that was a paving project for the boat launch there by the bridge. And so that facility is now fully paved out. It's still in construction technically because we haven't closed it out yet, but that will probably take place here in the spring. I think we're waiting on some stabilization to take place before we can release the contractor on that one. Crooked Creek sanitation improvements. We were given 350,000 to replace the toilets at Crooked Creek. This is actually combined with the same project as the Anchor River sanitation improvements, which is in construction. And part of this funding was actually siphoned off to replace the outhouse at Evelyn and put in a concrete vaulted toilet in there. We were in the process of doing that. Unfortunately, we were about a day late, and the conditions were deemed unsafe to try and get equipment. It had snowed, or the area was pretty icy, and we couldn't get the larger equipment down there to install the toilet. So that's definitely in the docket to do that in this spring as soon as the site conditions allow. Yeah, so just designing construction by the numbers. I started as the chief engineer back in 2013, and since then I've just been keeping track of some of the numbers, some of the accomplishments we've done, and so about 10 years. Here's the tally. We've awarded 282 construction-related contracts valued at over $100 million. We've secured 95 grant awards valued at over 40 million. And all of that, of course, went into our parks. Our education and education units, they've put just in the calendar year 25, they put in 72 work products. So that involves interpretive signs, panels, orientation panels, brochures, and bulletin board type material. And then we did just a quick tally, and we easily have 24 project partners that we deal with on a regular basis to advance the division's projects. And that brings us to the end of the presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Thanks, Reese. Any questions?
Reese,
is there a big project that's kind of listed for Kachemak Bay State Park for this coming year?
There is nothing in the park. I know earlier last year there were some discussions of trying to get some land water conservation fund funding to work on the trails down there at Cotton Eastland. But that didn't work out. Our partners decided to look at other options other than LWCF. Um, but we're certainly open to those types of partnering if they arise.
Just to add some context to Reese, is that the deferred maintenance list that the year is reviewed. It's a good list to be familiar with. We have a tiny, just fact check me here. For the last 2 years, there's been no capital budget from the state. This year, there's $1,000 capital budget to address, or $1 million capital budget proposed in the governor's budget. So project list is important, but it's important with context.
Yeah.
How does that sound? But important to prioritize. The point being is opportunities for funding do come along. It's important to have them, but we're kind of out of, I think, Reese, correct me if I'm wrong, for a while, we were in a routine where we would get maybe $3 to $5 million in the capital budget every year, and then we could have some sort of a tempo.
Right.
But that's.
You haven't really touched it in 2 years, is that what you're saying? Like,
correct, yeah.
Yes, that's correct. The FY26 capital budget was pretty skinny, and we didn't really get anything there to address our deferred maintenance list. The FY27 budget is looking a little bit better, but of course, we'll have to wait and see how it shakes out after the legislative session.
Is that the proposed budget from the governor?
That's correct. There's some funding in there for the Land and Water Conservation Fund. And there's also a deferred maintenance item, but it's a little bit tricky because the funding source is the same source that is used to fund our operating positions, our field positions. And so it's, we just don't get enough to satisfy both pots. And obviously our operation folks would have to take priority.
Thanks for that. Sound like a bad tug of war. Sue Christensen.
Thanks, Reese. You've spoken to us before, and it's always very informative. Really appreciate your time and expertise. I have a few different questions. One, I might have misunderstood, but you said that with like DOT, that you guys have a higher delegation of authority for work, like with the upcoming RTP grants that are going to be managed by DOT. Is that what you were alluding to, or is that? Do you understand my question?
Yeah, no, I understand. No, what I was saying is, the Department of Transportation is the only department authorized to carry out construction procurement by statute. But they also have the ability to delegate that authority to their sister agencies, and they do, because they just can't do everything around the state. DNR, because of State Parks' relationship with them, Design and Construction's relationship with DOT, we've been granted higher than normal authority because they trust us. They like how we do our construction contracting, and we do a good job of protecting the state's interest and having the technical background to carry out those construction procurement. And so they, like, for example, our authority is 1.5 million for horizontal construction, so buildings, and then 3.5 million for horizontal construction, so roads and parking lots. Any projects that are bigger than those, we have to give them to DOT to deliver. or we can ask for a waiver. And in the past years, again, because of that positive working relationship we have with them, all of our waiver requests have been approved as well.
Thank you so much. I'm sure that's a lot to do with you and appreciate it. Another question I have is the question that Dave brought up earlier about a cabin here and that he had noticed that there was 25 cabins allocated for the parks and wondered if we could get one. Dave is such a shaker and mover and volunteer extraordinaire. And these guys have been planning to build a cabin across the bay. And I'm just wondering if they have to build up to the standards that you cited. Build to specs if they go ahead and build a cabin.
Mm-hmm. I think I missed some of the question there, but what I gathered was there is a project to build up to 25 cabins out at K Bay, and the question was if those cabins have to be um, built to certain standards. Is that correct?
Not the first part, just that Dave mentioned at the beginning of the meeting that he had seen somewhere that there were was it funding for or a plan for maybe 25 different cabins throughout the state park system. And
Mm-hmm.
what was that?
I'd say it was kind of winding down.
And yeah, Hans said that was winding down, but we still have these strong desires to build a cabin over there. And I wonder if, or in our parks, if that cabin would have to be up to the specs you told us about.
Yes, they would have to conform to building codes. And I think out in the K Bay area, I don't know that there's a jurisdiction out there, and so it would have to defer back to the state fire marshal, which they have fairly simple requirements. They just want to see some drawings with a structural engineer stamp on them or an architect stamp, and they want to make sure that we're putting in fire extinguishers and smoke and CO2 detectors.
Alan Parks.
Thank you, Robert. Well, kind of continuing along that subject of cabins, what is the difference between a yurt and a cabin, or are there different standards with contractors who are operating in the park to provide a cabin or a yurt for housing?
Mm-hmm.
So the question
that
is, the yurt, the question, the observation is the yurts aren't really have any structural design to them or engineers to them. They're basically, a yurt, a glorified tents for lack of anything else, but they're operating in the park. And so that's the question. What's the difference really? I mean, what? I can take sense. I can take that, Lisa, if you want.
certainly. Go for it.
We're a commercial use operator, right, who provides yurts in the park. The cabins are owned by the state of Alaska.
Okay.
Can you help me out, Alan, with the rest of your questions?
Well, then, given that, if a contractor could come in and operate as the vendor does, that's operating the yurts and provide something other than a yurt, like a cabin, do those have to be engineered if they're not maintained and owned by the state?
Yeah, the state, general, I guess not a general statement, but I don't know of any places statewide where we've had a vendor or a commercial use operator build a permanent structure on state parks lands. The structures I'm familiar with that we have statewide with commercial use operators are non-permanent structures. There may be some exceptions, some regions, but.
Thanks.
So I guess the question would be is that do commercial operators, when they put up a building, do that building have to meet criteria? Does it have to have an architect's stamp on it in order?
That's a good question. Because, I mean, it would be liability, right? So eventually the state would be liable, of course, but, the operator would be first.
Yeah, I
Anybody
think
else?
that would depend on the local authorities too. What it boils down to is, we just want to make sure that these facilities, these structures are safe. If you imagine the folks that are using these, they have certain expectations that they're walking into something that's safe. They're not putting themselves in harm's way. And I think it's just as the owners or even the operators, there's a certain level of um, requirement that they are meeting those expectations.
Okay, thank you for that. Casey Adderhold.
Thanks, Reese. For members of the public or for this cab, are there ways to submit supporting information to help in the prioritization of any of these deferred maintenance projects?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of that.
Are there ways, what are the best ways for members of the public or for this cab to submit supporting information or letters of support, say, for certain deferred maintenance projects? Would that help factor into prioritization, or is there any way to help
Mhm.
demonstrate a value to projects?
Yes, certainly, public outreach, public voice to your representatives or the governor's office. Those types of things are always helpful. We do have to be cautious. We can't direct you folks to do that, but if as the cab as a body, if you guys choose to do that yourselves, we would certainly appreciate that, and it would definitely go a long ways, I think.
Certainly, and I think for general use of these funds, that or general more additions to the funds would be helpful. But for the prioritization within the projects currently, is there any way to take input into that, or is it internal?
It's we do listen to what the people have to say. Right now, because the list is so big and the funding is minimal, we really try to address health and safety items first. And that's just kind of a prudent thing to do on our part. And that's why we're seeing a lot of these vaulted toilets getting replaced. Health and sanitation is always important to us. And those are the ones right now that are kind of rising to the top.
Thank you, Reese.
To my previous comments about reasons about funding and the list not moving much, but that would be an exercise we can do this spring. I can circulate the list to the group here and with a month's notice, and we can chat about it for
Yeah,
10 minutes.
went to the website and I hadn't really ever seen that in writing before, that list of
Yeah.
deferred projects.
It's a little overwhelming.
Yeah, well, and just Kachemak Bay State Park, like this, the dollar value attached to like a campsite at Green Lake and like the Halibut Cove Lagoon and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
it'd be nice to like to have that list. And it's interesting to watch how Friends has tried to like chip away at some of that, and help bring more awareness to that process. It'd be really helpful.
So the governor's budget is one thing, the legislature's budget is another thing. So when you have a champion in the legislature to state parks, it makes life much easier. And I don't know who that would be right now. So anyhow, Reese, thank you. We're going to move along.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate your time.
All right, Camille.
So I think everybody is aware that the recreational trails program grant went from parks to Alaska DOT. And it's now it used to be, those grants used to be reviewed by a committee called ORTAB. The new committee is now called RTAC, which is the Alaska Recreational Trails Advisory Committee, and the first meeting of it was yesterday. It was primarily an organizational meeting, reviewing bylaws and charter. The committee agreed for this round of RTP grants that has been submitted to maintain the existing RTP criteria for reviewing them. They decided their role is to prioritize projects, not to allocate specific funding amount. And they emphasize the importance of including trail maintenance in there, in addition to new trail construction. Interestingly, there was quite an emphasis on winter trails, ice roads. There are ongoing discussions about reopening the RTP application period for this year for a very short period of time. And then also potentially changing the match requirement from a 10, right now it's a 10% match. They're considering changing that to a 20% match. Uncertainties remain about how previously accepted applications will be integrated in with the new ones, and whether existing applicants will then need to revise their applications to revise the match request. So there's a whole lot of stuff up in the air. They are going to be meeting again probably in another month or two. The other thing that you might be interested in, we've talked about the Land Water Conservation Fund. The ORTAB committee is the one that also reviews the LWCF applications. Their meeting was this afternoon. I think this year they had about $2 million available. There were 4 projects approved totaling about $550,000. So you might wonder, well, what about that excess? What happens to it? Some of that has been absorbed into existing projects using amendments. There were dollars left on the table this time around. It sounds to me like there's going to be more money for LWCF projects this next year. What part of the issue is for states for state parks, having the funds to come up with a 50-50 match. They don't have the money to be able to do that for some of the projects. So this next year looks a little brighter with regards to LWCF. I think the new application period will be opened up in August.
Quickly.
So the ORTAB board.
ORTAB board is what used to review RTPs and LWCF.
Now the same people are still doing the LWCF.
Yes, it's the same ORTAB board. So it's a new RTAC board, a new RTAC board.
Great appointed. Thanks so much for listening in on that.
Is there a hand up on the board? I don't know who that person is.
Unknown.
So it might be Louis. He's on.
Somebody has their hand up online. You need to identify yourself.
Yeah, could you? It's Louis, Robert. I just wanted to make sure you knew I was here.
I got you signed off, Louis. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope. All right. I'm 2 time zones away, so I got confused on the time, but I'm here now.
Okay, man. Thanks, Louis.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on. State Parks report, superintendent report.
Okay, good evening all. First and foremost, I'd like to introduce the new K-8 Ranger, Tessa McKittrick. That comes with us,
Wow.
That's from Sioux Valley. So.
Great. So we have 3 or 4.
One.
Yeah,
One.
0. Yeah.
Yes, more than 0. 2 counting 0.
So,
She is going to law enforcement for,
Correct. Yep. So Tess will be headed to the Law Enforcement Academy at the end of the month. And then she will be here in the summer.
law enforcement.
great. And we still have Eric and we still have the
That's
other
it.
folks.
No,
We
there's,
still have Eric, although he's
Yeah.
not.
Eric.
the other folks are no longer our folks. Well, there are folks, but they're enforcement. They're strictly enforcement. Eric and not Eric, but
Jason.
Jason and,
Yep, Jason and Tessa will be the enforcement. branch.
oh, what happened to the, oh, we went.
Aaron. Aaron is the other one,
And Aaron.
but he's not law enforcement, right?
Yeah, Aaron's not, yeah. Good
So
question.
we have 4 staff.
Find an org chart, that'd be helpful.
And we have 5 staff.
But what happened?
Eric is just already.
You go to.
But in
state
fact,
troopers?
humility.
Did you go to troopers?
Carter Forney went to work for state troopers, correct?
What a traitor.
No comment. Number 2, we're fortunate to get, speaking of grants, our down here RTP grant for trail reroute to get to Chinapoot Lake and a bridge. Got extension from the Federal Highways Administration, which is great. We've got a hiring freeze on right now with the state of Alaska, so we're working on waivers to hire our seasonal staff. Submitted those here this week. I'll keep this group informed on how those go. Working on host hiring for the summer, which is standard practice for us, but soliciting host volunteers throughout the region, including down here in K-Bay. And we've got board membership. We've got 4 vacancies coming up on the board here, terms coming up. So if you'd like to apply, let me know, or find an application on our website where I've got applications here, and I'll work to, we've got a press release that went out today, and we'll work to get that out on our media platforms, social media platforms, and print news, radio.
So do you know who you are if you are coming up?
Who's on the top?
Do you have that for you?
Yeah, it's my record. We've got Louis, Sue, Casey, and Morgan, June 30th. And obviously, there's no term limits. I encourage everyone to apply, but we're also looking for new applicants. So put the word out there.
And we could have a few more board members. We've had up to 14, and right now we have 11, so. Any questions for Hans?
Yep. Just to the public comment, Aaron's comments about the trails at Eastland there. It's we're building infrastructure out there. Rest of that. Realize the infrastructure we're building to access the lands we have. Yeah.
Are we in jeopardy of losing any positions or
Ooh,
just,
question. No, we're fortunate to have
Yeah.
positions in the region filled, which is a good step to not losing positions. So I haven't heard any rumors, but I'm not into rumors really, so but I'll start listening.
How,
Alan,
thank you, Robert. How long is the academy or down, how do you get along? You're gonna be in Sitka?
I'll be in Sitka until May 15th,
Oh.
and then I'll start the field training program and hopefully be back here around late August,
I
early
see.
September. Finish for y'all.
Cool.
and you're from the Matsu?
Yeah, I'm from Palmer.
Were you born and raised in Palmer?
I was born in Colorado, but moved to Palmer when I was like 4 days old.
Perfect.
So nearly born in Palmer.
Perfect.
all right, you got your work cut out for you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, looking forward to it.
It's a great party for everybody.
That it, Hans?
That's it. Thank you.
All right,
Thanks, Hans.
we have no operations report tonight, committee reports. Friends, anybody have anything from Friends?
You're the only one that was at the meeting.
I guess I am, and I can't remember a thing.
When's the next?
The
February
first Monday.
First Monday,
February 2nd.
February 2nd.
I'll say one thing, the search and rescue, and that was at the meeting,
Yep.
sorry, too, for friends. The search and rescue group is doing, is being initiated. We have a group of about 20 signed up for a training at the end of the month, 3.5 days, so it's pretty intensive. And then we'll hopefully have a volunteer search and rescue group that's trained and ready to respond. Made a lot of progress there.
Anybody else can jump on that at all? Or is it full?
It's full
Okay.
and it has wait list.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Right.
Allison has been.
Yeah.
Really pushing that,
That's awesome.
and she's got a lot of statewide people involved in that, so
So
it's gonna be something.
Yeah.
And
we're meeting what time? Friends of the Park.
cooking a keeper,
Okay. And what time?
4 o'clock.
Thank you.
Our next meeting is gonna be solely budget. So we'll be budgeting for this coming year.
Go to that one.
Yeah. Yeah, we're on no monkey business. I was just trying to see if I could think of anything, but you know, Friends is doing a lot. We got some money, we
Eastland, that there's an Eastland Trails,
That's information update.
oh, sorry.
Okay,
Never mind.
without wasting any more time. Water Trail, did you have anything, Dave?
No.
Cottonwood Eastland.
So I suspect most folks know by now that we received a Rasmussen $250,000 grant, which is phase 2, which is huge. We have contracted with John Underwood of Happy Trails to review and do detailed flagging of the phase 2 trails. Most of the phase 2 trails are optimized bike trails. It is absolutely critical that grade be put in correctly before any construction is started. And another reason we decided to get John Underwood involved is, well, these are basically, there is one little bike trail in Chugach State Park, but these are the first bike trails in Alaska State Parks. And while State Parks has a lot of experience doing layout and inspecting hiking trails, they do not have experience with biking trails. And so they have requested some very, very detailed flagging. And so John is capable of doing that type of flagging. It'll be very, very visual, so that all Eric has to do is walk along and be able to kind of visualize the trail. Bike trails are conceptual. They're not exact as far as where this or that is going to go. So we're going to be going with dense color coding flagging to identify a variety of different things. Weather depending, we anticipate that the layout will be able to happen at the end of April. I'll be working on a special use permit for that flagging so that it's in place should the weather permit John to be able to come down and do that. Eastland Trails Info Night is this weekend at Grace Ridge, 5 to 7. There will be a presentation. The team behind the Eastland Trails will all be there. Updated maps and ability to ask questions. We've gotten a pretty positive response, so come and meet everybody involved with the Eastland Trails.
Thanks, Camille. Thank you. I guess I'd just like to add my little 2 cents about the nomenclature that we're using to designate that area.
Oh, yes.
I've always called it.
It's the Cottonwood
Cottonwood
East. It
Eastland
is the
unit.
Cottonwood Eastland unit of Kachemak Bay State Park. Absolutely, but it's in the Eastland part
Okay.
of the Cottonwood Eastland,
Okay,
and they're separated by a canyon.
okay,
So there are 2 distinct areas of the park. There's the Cottonwood part of it, and then there's this, which is why we chose to go with the shorter name.
it's shorter, but when everything gets going out there, it should be the Cottonwood Eastland unit.
It is the Cottonwood Eastland unit of
Okay.
Kachemak Bay State.
Very good.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you, Camille. All right, next is Evelyn State Recreation Site, and I see that Nikki was online. Do
Hi
you have
there.
anything you want to? Go ahead.
Just one little bit of information, possibly, Evelyn qualifies for, CAP funding from the borough. And, the, treasurer of, the Nordic Ski Club is out of the area right now. So we're waiting to see if we actually are gonna get the funds. It's been, back and forth, whether it was in the Fritz Creek area or the Fox River area, and it seems like the latest reporting from the Homer News is it's in the Fox River area, so we could be getting some funding, which from the ski, we'll go through the ski club and we'll go to trail maintenance. We need some more gravel on our accessible trail, and then there's some other trail sections that has some running water over it. And then, eventually maybe we can get the lower winter trail that's super wet, get that graded so that people can walk on that in the summer. So that's all I got.
Thanks, Nikki. Any questions?
Are you talking about revenue sharing, Nikki? Is that what you're saying?
I think they're called CAP. It's called CAP,
Okay,
the CAP program now.
yeah, I get it.
Community,
Yeah.
Community assistance program.
Assistance
It
program.
can be called revenue sharing, but it's community assistance.
Oh,
program.
borough.
It's from the borough.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, next is the Habitat Committee, and I have not seen Nancy Hillstrand for this. All right, we'll move on to Trails Committee, and do you have anything to like this with Mr. Parks?
Just real quick, we're working on, Trails and Tales event for volunteer recruitment to happen on the 16th of May. We're fine tuning that. We went over some of the trail issues associated with in the glacier group, glacier management unit, and that's about it. What's that?
Very well.
Any questions?
Any questions? Seeing no hands up, seeing no questions on here, thank you, Alan. All right, let's move on to old business, monthly public speaking events. And did you have anything we wanted to add to this?
We got Dennis Talley is going to talk, and his talk is the wonders. Oh gosh, I wish I could remember the wonders of winter and Kachemak Bay State Park, and we'll have a flyer out for that. That's going to be held on the first Thursday. I'm having to jockey around the dates, and they're not going to be consistent, unfortunately. But anyway, first Thursday at the Methodist Church, 6:30 to 8. It probably won't last that long, but we'll get it out on the radio and try and get a flyer and get some social media stuff going. Right, Casey? Yeah, thank you. And so he's gonna show images and talk about his experiences in the wintertime in Kachemak Bay State Park. Then in March, I'm hoping to have somebody, haven't pinned them down yet, talking to Marilyn Sigmund. And then in April, we have Tom Kazaya, and his talk is gonna be on the history of advocacy in Kachemak Bay and Kachemak Bay State Park. And then in May, I have I'm looking for, and that's gonna happen on the first Thursday. Interferes with Shorebird, so it's gonna happen on the very last Thursday, which is the last day of April, is a Thursday, and that's when that's gonna happen. There you go.
Alan, thank you. Keep us all appraised.
Yes, yeah, it's a moving target.
That is.
Yeah, but that's what I got.
Good work.
Awesome.
Any other questions? See none.
I heard on the radio that our meeting was tonight. That's good that it happened.
Yeah.
Yes, somebody did.
Thank you.
There. All right. I put in there regulations and oversight of personal watercraft in Kachemak Bay State Park. And that's just something that conversation should go on. It's going to be a dicey thing until such time as that Parks has to roll over and say, okay, we have no way of regulating this.
Maybe that won't happen.
Well, it would be very nice.
Good thoughts, guy.
You know, they allowed them in the park at one time, and then the public got up in arms along with people that enjoyed the critical habitat. So it's just something to be very cognizant of. So. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Robert, thank you. But that's a decision that the governor makes or state parks or.
I think it just.
Right now, it's prohibited in the park.
Without any.
It's allowed in the critical habitat, but it's not in park.
Right. And so, question to Hans, do you anticipate the state making a position, taking a regulatory change?
Any regulatory change would require like a review period of public comment.
Oh. So if it is gonna happen, that process will,
That process will happen as well.
right?
So that would be a regulatory change in the state park management plan.
It'll be a regulation plan, I think, a regulation change, which I think would trump the management plan. Or the management plan references, regulation, the current reg, I would guess.
Check on the wording, exactly how that's gonna shake out.
I haven't been appraised of any timing or anything like that, but that's just,
Okay. Keep our ears to that. So moving on, new business, have none, informational material. Didn't have any to throw out to this meeting. So comments from the public. Is there anybody from the public that would like to comment? If you're online, please raise your hand and be recognized. Seeing none, anybody here from the public have anything to say? Mako Haggerty.
I really don't like jet skis.
Thank you, Mako. Comments of park staff. Bounce.
Happy New Year to all. Thanks for supporting parks, all we do.
And I'm sorry, I haven't got your name in my memory bank yet. Anything to add to the,
Well, it was a pleasure to meet you all. Put some names to faces and look forward to working with you.
same here. Welcome aboard and good luck and sit back. Comments of board members. Alan.
Well, I'm kind of curious, Tesla, where did you see my face? Just kidding, just kidding, just kidding. You said face to faces. Thank you, everybody. It's all good. Looking forward to moving on to my next thing tonight.
Two. Hasty.
Good.
Who do we have on our line? Morgan.
Great work, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Morgan. Justice Sky, anything to say?
Thanks, everybody. Good information today.
Thanks, Justice. Kirsten Dixon, I think that's you online. Maybe not. That's all I can see. Louis, you still there? Anything to say?
Yep, I'm here. I don't have anything. Just thanks everybody for being there.
Okay, Louis. All right, have I missed anybody?
Hello, Robert.
Glenn. There's Glenn.
All right.
Anything to say, Glenn?
You're muted.
Can't hear you, Glenn. You just gotta love these modern things. All right. I'm thinking that you were with us, Glenn, because I saw this phone number.
Muted them.
Anyway,
Say, Robert,
yes,
Robert, this is Gary Fondry. I've been listening to the meeting all evening. I just wanted to let you know it was that I've been on for the record.
thanks, Kerry. We'll put you down.
Thank you.
All right, then. We have no other comments. I would,
Move to adjourn the meeting.
very well, meeting's adjourned. We'll see you all next month.
I'd like to thank Hans for driving.
Driving down.
And drive safely back.
Go to the brewery. What do you got? Something come back? We gotta go spend money now.